Hey guys, Shane here, FSElite. Welcome to another video. Now in today's video we are going to be checking out virtual reality. That's right, VR, and specifically we're going to be checking out VR in Xplane 11 and also in P3D version 4.2. We're going to go through the differences between the UI, how it works. I'll give you my personal opinion on each because I do use both for VR, and also I'll give you my opinion on VR and how it's situated within Flight Sim at the moment. So behind me, we're just going through the startup in Xplane 11 with the FlyJ Sim, the 73200. I use a VR quite a lot, so when I'm spending my time not flying to make videos for you guys to see on YouTube, I'm actually flying, and I would say about 80% of my flights are in VR these days, because I feel that the immersion feeling of VR is next to none. It's better than you can find anything by having the best graphics or the best 4K screen or any of that sort of stuff. It really makes the immersive feeling of flying a simulator just tenfold. It's such a unique experience, and I can't get enough of it. So I do spend a lot of time flying in VR. Unfortunately, VR is very hard to film, and the quality of what you guys see is different to what I actually see and the experience I'm getting with the VR headsets on. So that's why you don't see many VR videos. So as you can see, the quality, what you guys are seeing right now, is a lot different than what you're used to. But I wanted to show you some VR footage for this particular video, so you sort of get the sense of, if you haven't used VR before, what it's all about. Now, the first thing to look at when you're looking at VR is hardware. What's going to be the best hardware for you? So, in my honest opinion, there's probably two options out there. One is the Oculus Rift and Touch, and also the next one is the HTC Vive. HTC has also launched a new version of their Vive, which is the HTC Vive Pro. It has a little higher resolution, but price is astronomical. So I'm only going to talk about the two. So first one is Oculus Rift. Now this is the one that I picked up. You can pick it up for an average of about $449 US. I actually picked mine up last Black Friday sales for, I think it was about $390 US, so pretty good deal. It comes with everything that you need, which is the Oculus Rift headset, the Oculus Rift Touch, which is the touch controllers, all your sensors, and the Oculus Rift earphones and all that. The earphones, I ripped them off and used my own headset over the top, which I would highly recommend anybody to do. Just the clarity on a headset so much better than the stuff that comes with the Oculus Rift. But pretty much everything that you need to get up and running for $449, and you can find them on sale for about $395 USD a couple of times a year. So the next one is the HTC Vive. It's generally you'll find it about $100 US more expensive than the Oculus Rift, and it comes with everything you need, which is the headsets and your controllers, all that sort of stuff. And I don't really know the difference why the price is, because statistically they pretty much do the same sort of thing. Both of them are OLED, and resolution is 2160 by 1200, and refresh rate is 90 Hertz. You pretty much need the same sort of comparison of computers to run them. So don't know what the difference in price. I went for the Oculus Rift, did a lot of research, and I found that one was going to be the best for me. So they're the things to have a look out for. What we're going to do is we're going to jump into prepared version 4.2, and we're going to have a look at the VR menu, because they've sort of done a lot of upgrading in their last version of prepared to make it a bit more VR friendly. So we're going to take a look at the UI. We'll do the same thing for Xplane 11, and then we'll take prepared version 4.2 and Xplane 11. We'll see if we can set up pretty much the same flight and and do a bit of a comparison. So we've been saying that, let's jump into it. Welcome to prepared version 4 of VR. We are sitting at YMML, so Melbourne, and in the Just Fly Arrow, which we'll use these as our test case against X-Plane 11 VR a little bit later. But how you access VR, you've got in the menu at the top there, the virtual reality section. First part is the VR Learning Center, where you can learn about all the new options for VR. And then you can hit enable VR. You can either use Steam VR or use Oculus. Because I've got an Oculus Rift, obviously I'm going to hit Oculus. Once you're in VR, your computer screen will look like this. It doesn't look like this with the headset, but you need to pull the headset up to see the menu here. So the first one is disable virtual reality. Also, you can recalibrate your origin. You need to pretty much do that every single time you jump into VR. It will put you back in the seat where you need to be. Next one is head display mode. I put mine in stereo view. Options there really is just the quality of what your sim's going to look like. The next one is on-screen display, which is obviously what your computer screen is going to look like, and then also the VR Learning Center again. So the menu is very, very basic, and if you want to access it, you need to pull your VR headset up, which is a little bit annoying, but very basic and easy to use. Now we've just quickly jumped into the X-Plane UI. It's a little bit different than prepared version 4. You can see I'm holding up the touch controllers, which are artificially inputted into the sim, so you can see, which makes it really handy when you're flying and you want to pick one up in the aircraft. But basically you hit your VR button and it will go into this little VR hangar, which is really cool because these planes are true scale. So that Cathay Pacific 747 is absolutely massive when you're sitting down. But in here, this little whiteboard, I can change all my settings through the whole sim by using the touch controller, which is really, really handy. The other cool part in this virtual reality hangar is I can customize the flight, so I can change my aircraft, change the weather, change the day, change all the things that you would normally do when you're setting up your sim. You can automatically have it settings to when you load up X-Plane, it will go into VR mode straight away for you. But I usually like setting up the sim not in VR and then switching VR on once I've got all my third-party stuff ready to go. Once you're in the sim, using your touch controllers, you can configure where you're sitting. I'll just flickly, I don't know what happened there, but no, we can configure where you're sitting. So similar to the calibration that you could do in Prepared, but you can do this all on the touch controller. And using the touch controllers means you can hit all the VR touch points, and that is the iPad that has a map on it that I never use, but you can use the controller for the touch points and change all the different bits in the aircraft. I pretty much like to use the mouse that is provided. I prefer doing that. In Prepare, which I forgot to mention before, you have a little bubble which you can use as a mouse to overclick things, so it makes it really easy. Some of the things using the touch means that you would have to, you end up hitting things with your hand, like your desk and whatnot. Also has the little handy menu here, so which basically you can hop in and out of the menu. Your configuration settings, also things like your different camera views and all that sort of stuff. So it's really handy and easy to use. And the great thing that I like with the X-Plane UI, I should say, is that you can do it all without taking your headset off, which keeps the immersion going. It just makes it easier. The difference with the Prepared one, as easy as it is, anytime you want to change something in the settings, you've got to take your headset off, which is, to me, it's a little bit annoying. So that's the map there. I'll quickly click on it so you can see. I've never really used this. You can see having a little bit of issues. I've never really used this because I use the GPS. But anyways, we'll just put it down for now. It usually sits in the seat there. So now it's time to go flying with VR. So I'm going to walk you through as we do a pattern around YMML, so Melbourne. We're going to start off in V4 or 4.2 for prepared, and I'll give you my perspective as we fly along. So you can see that little dot in the middle there, that's what you use for your mouse. You just need to hold. That's one of the cool things with VR. Once you put the goggles on, you are totally immersed. So pretty much your whole vision is the flight sim. So, which is different when you're looking at a computer screen. In your front of vision, you can see all sorts of stuff, like, you know, your keyboard, your mouse, other screens, your computer, all that. That all disappears when you put VR on, and that's what really makes it immersive. So we're just going to give away to this. It looks like a bit of a green moonie. So one thing is that chase plane works well in VR. It's pretty much how you would navigate around. You can use your camera options the same. If you've got a link to, easiest way to do it is link to yoke. That's what I do. So one of the main differences is, and it could be just the way that I have X-Plane set up, but when it comes to VR, Prepar3D 4.2 is a lot brighter than what X-Plane is, which makes it a little bit easier to see. So we're going to line up here on the runway. Now, once you've been doing this for a while in VR, you don't get that sort of motion feeling. That disappears. One of the things that I feel with X-Plane is it feels more, the feeling of flying is probably there, a little bit more there. So just popping the gears up there, using the little white dot that I forgot to mention at the start of the video. Just going to have a look around the cockpit, and one thing is VR, you can get a great your situation awareness. You can get a great view on that, knowing where you are and where your aircraft is in the sim, and it's great to spot other aircraft flying around as well. So we're going to continue on the runway heading here. We're going to go up to about 1,500 feet in total. Then we're going to switch before we make a left-hand turn, because we're going to do a left-hand turn pattern. We're going to switch to X-Plane so you can get a bit of a view. And we're going to do the same airport and the same aircraft as well. So we're just beginning our turn in X-Plane, and one thing with VR is I feel that my flying, especially in GA, is a lot better than what I would do looking at a screen. So, you know, I can move my head around a lot easier than what you could ever do with Track IR, and you can get a good perception of where the airport is, what your angle of your turns are, and you can look at the wing and you can do things and pick a point on the ground and turn around it, which makes things really, really, really cool. Just like what I'm doing now, and turn on a dime, and I couldn't really do that sort of stuff without doing it in VR. I believe my flying skills in VR, just visually with the headset, makes it easier to fly. So we're going to line up here, and one thing I haven't mentioned about VR is the sound. So I use my own headset, which I mentioned before. So I use the Oculus Rift, rip off the headphones that come with that, and use your own headset if you've got one. But when you're moving your head around left to right, obviously the sound changes in the sim, and that helps with the immersion feeling. So when I'm looking right and then looking left, obviously I get the different sound of the engines, and when you're doing that with the headset on, it makes it even more realistic, which is really, really, really cool. The other thing is I find I use my 6-pack of instruments, or the instruments on the dash, a lot more in the aircraft that I'm flying, because I'm not looking at a second screen and using third-party software such as Navigraph or whatever to see where I'm flying. So I've mentioned a lot of good things about VR. There is some disadvantages. One is obviously the resolution of your VR headset. So it looks a lot clearer when I'm looking at this footage, but reading some of the gauges and some of the fine print and some of the writing on the buttons, it's a little bit hard to do, so you really need to lean in. So obviously that will get better with the second generation of VR headsets, but some of that is a little bit hard to read, and generally any GPS sort of setup I would need to do before the flight, before I put a headset on. Other thing to think about is you need a beefy computer as well to run it. My frames are a little bit lower here because I'm running OBS, and I've got VR headset, I've got a computer screen, and I've got OBS and also a mirror client all up at the same time, so it's dropping the frames a little bit. But you do need a healthy computer to get good frames for VR to make it a great experience. I'll also leave a couple of pictures at the end of the video of my settings for Prepared and also for Xplane as well. So we're just making our descent here. We're going to make a left-hand turn shortly, so we're going to jump back into Xplane for the landing since we took off in Prepared version 4. So we'll do that now. So just beginning our left-hand turn as we set up our landing, and you know, I firmly believe it's a lot easier to set up your landings. And the cool thing is, you know, when pilots talk about look at the end of the runway, look at the end of the runway, I find that I can really do that with VR, and my landings are so much better. Even in Xplane with the ground handling for GA aircraft, it's a lot better using VR. So we're just lining up. Obviously it's a short approach in. We'll see how we go. I didn't have any aircraft turned on in Xplane for this flight. I did in Prepared, and someone flew straight through us, so that's why we're landing in Xplane. We'll line up here, and it just makes it so easy, you know, to position yourself and get a good glide slope in with VR. Just the whole experience. It's really cool, and you get a good feeling when you've aced a landing. There we go, perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump back into the 732. We're going to take off out of Orlando, and I'll give you my final thoughts on each Xplane 11 and Prepared version 4.2 when it comes to VR. So we're back in the FlyJ Sim, the 732 in Xplane 11, about to take off from Orlando. My final thoughts would be, if you can afford it and you've got a good enough computer, I would highly recommend some VR hardware. Which is the best platform to use it on? Well, a couple of things. Xplane 11 has put a lot of time into their UI and the setup of VR, so hands down they are a lot better than Prepared in that aspect. I feel that it is a lot smoother and you get more of a flying feeling in Xplane 11. Having said that, Xplane 11 is a little bit darker. I think that comes to all the shadow work and things like that. Prepared is a lot brighter and a lot clearer than Xplane 11 when you're doing the physical flying, but within saying that, the UI in it is very difficult, and you have to take your headset off more times than what you need to do with Xplane. So they're both good or bad, or have their pros and cons, but if I have to say which one I spend most of my time in, it would be Xplane 11. But whichever platform that you do pick, you'll have a great experience in VR.
$80 knots. B1, rotate.
So thank you very much for watching. I know it's a different type of video than usual. Hopefully you got something out of it. As you can see, we've flown a 732. You can fly larger aircraft as well. I have done full flights in this aircraft when it comes to VR. The great thing is that this technology is only going to get better. Looking forward to the second generation stuff and to see what Prepared and Xplane do in the future for VR support. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Please hit the thumbs up if you liked the video, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers, have a good day.